Hi, Andy. Good morning. Online people, please confirm my voice is audible or not.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir, audible.
So as part of yesterday's session, we discussed about end-to-end flow by using BigQuery, and we have done the practicals to load data from GCS to BigQuery, and at the same time we discussed about what all are the different layers we are going to see as part of our real-time projects. And in the real time, what is going to happen? You are going to get the data from the source team. They are going to put all the data into the landing zone. From the landing zone, we need to copy the files to the GCS buckets. By using what commands we are going to copy the files? By using the gsutil commands, we are going to copy the file from landing zone to our GCS bucket. After that, from the GCS buckets, we are going to load the data into the BigQuery. Within the BigQuery, how many layers we are going to maintain? We are going to maintain 3 different layers. One is the confirm zone, semantic zone, and other one is the visualization zone. In the confirm zone, we are going to maintain the raw data. In the semantic zone, we are going to maintain the transformed data. From the confirm zone to semantic zone, while performing the data loading operations, we will apply all the transformations. Then we are loading the data into the semantic zone. On top of the semantic zone, we are going to create the views in the visualization zone. And what all are these? All these are the different naming conventions which we are going to use as part of our real time. We can able to call it as a confirm zone, or we can call it as a raw data, or we can call it as a silver zone, or we can call it as a staging zone, or we can able to call it as a raw data layer. In different projects, we are going to call it as a different names. And just for understanding, I kept all the names here. So here we can able to call it as a silver region, gold region, and platinum region, or we can able to call staging layer, integration layer, and views, or we can able to call RDL, CDL, VDL. So like this, we can able to use the different naming conventions as part of our real-time projects. Now, once we loaded the data on top of the visualization zone by using the views, what is the next step? Our end users. Who are the end users? We can able to see either business people, or analytics team, or reporting team, or ML team, or AI team. All these people will come to use the data from the BigQuery data warehouse. But how they are going to access all this data? They are going to access all this data by using the views from the visualization zone. This is the way we need to understand end to end how we can able to, how it is going to happen as part of our real-time projects. At the same time, yesterday we discussed about all these topics practically also, Randy, and we discussed about all the steps. What all are the steps we need to follow? Each and every layer. In the step 1, what we need to do. In the step 2, what we need to do. In the step 3, what we need to do. We performed all these activities in the practical way also. But as part of yesterday whole session, we haven't discussed about one topic, which is nothing but what is the audit table and what is the control table. Today, first we'll try to understand in this entire flow where audit table is coming into the picture, or where audit table or control table is coming into the picture, that we are going to understand as part of our today's session. Now see, actually For example, you are loading the data from source file to confirm zone. After that, by applying the transformations, we are loading the data into the semantic zone. Now, this is the daily process or this is the occasional process. This will happen on daily or weekly or monthly or quarterly by depending on the client requirement only. So what is going to happen? This operation is going to happen on daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis or quarterly basis by depending on the client requirement. For example, in our project, we are doing this process on daily basis. Just assume that process on the daily basis. And what is the meaning of daily basis? Daily you are going to get the data from the source stream to the landing zone. From the landing zone, we are copying the data to the GCS bucket. From the GCS bucket, we are loading the data to confirm zone. From the confirm zone, we are loading the data to the semantic zone. So this is the process happening on the daily basis as part of my project. Now, for example, after 1 month, while business team checking the data, they observe that for a particular day, data is not available. For example, data is not available for August 5th. After 1 month, so in this 1 month, what is happening? Every day, this whole process is running in my project. Now, after 1 month, while business team doing the checking the data or while they are performing the analysis, what they observe here? They observe that for a particular day, they are not seeing the data. And for example, for August 15, they are not seeing the data. So what they will do here? They will send mail to dev team and they will ask us to cross check it once. Okay, now how we are going to cross verify this? In the real-time project, you build the entire data pipeline, and from 1 month onwards, this entire data pipeline is running in the project. And after 1 month, my business team doing some kind of validations. While doing the validations from the business team, they observe that one day data was missing in the out of this entire 1 month. So 1 month data, 1 day data was missed out of this 1 month, and they send the mail to the dev team. Who is the dev team here? As a cloud data engineer, you are the dev team. They send the mail to the dev team and they're asking, can you please check it once? Now, as a data engineer, how we are going to verify this? One option, you need to open your select start from the table. Now, in this table, you need to verify whether we are having all the data, days of the data or not. Okay, this is one option. Just you need to open your target table or your whatever the table you are using. You need to open that table. From that table, you need to verify whether all the days of data present or not. But tell me, if I am going to run this query, what is going to happen? It need to scan the whole table, or it need to scan the only particular day table. It is going to scan whole data in the table. Now, how many days of data we are having in this table? For example, we are having 30 months of data. Indirectly, you are going to scan huge data or small data. We are going to scan very huge data because already in this table we are having the 30 days of data. Out of these 30 days, you want to verify whether a particular day data is available or not. To verify that, if I am going to give the query like this, what will happen? It is going to scan the complete table. One thing, it is a kind of a time consuming process to scan all the 30 days of data. At the same time, for the cost perspective also, it is going to apply huge amount of cost. And then how we can able to overcome this kind of issues in the real time? How we can overcome these kind of issues? To overcome these kind of issues only, we are introducing one more table called as nothing but audit tables. And so what we are doing here, we are introducing one more table called as nothing but audit table. So what we will do here is, once we are going to load the data from the GCS bucket to our CZ table, once we are going to load the data from the GCS bucket to the CZ table, we will add one entry into audit table. So what we are going to do here, we are going to add just one entry into the audit table indirectly. In this audit table, we are going to maintain the structure like this. For example, I will maintain username, database name, table name, and total records, last load time, and next load time. So this is the way what we are going to do here. So audit table is a kind of, is nothing but a table only. If it is a table, obviously what we need to maintain, we need to maintain the structure of the table. Now in this audit table, we are going to maintain the structure like this. So here we are going to maintain username, database name, table name, total records, last load time and next load time. Like this, we are going to maintain the structure in this audit table. Now, once you are going to load the data from the GCS bucket to the confirm zone table, then we will add one entry into this table. And for example, I am adding username is 2345 and I'm giving database name is, for example, CZ underscore election underscore results. And I'm given the table name is STG underscore Punjab. And I'm given the total records is, for example, 300. And last load date is, for example, I'm giving 2023 08 21. And next load date I'm giving 2023 08 22. So this is the way. So for example, on 21st, we loaded the data from the GCS bucket to the confirm zone table. After completion of the data loading, what I will do here in this audit table, I will enter one entry. So I'm going to enter the entry as 2345. We are going to give the database name, table name, how many records are loaded, what is the last load date time, and what is the next load time. So like this, we are going to maintain all the records on top of your output. Okay. And one more thing here, if you want, we can able to maintain one indicator column. Now tell me, on the 21 date, this load is completed or not? Load is completed. So for that reason here, what we can do is we can able to maintain the indicator called as a Y. What is the meaning of Y here? So here we loaded the record on top of your this table in the confirm zone table. After loading the data into the confirm zone table, in this table, what we are doing here, we are adding a entry. So by seeing this entry, we can able to understand on this date, data is loaded into this table. Okay. Otherwise, just to remove the confusion, we'll do this. Okay. Now, for example, on the 22, this is for day 2023, August 21st. Now coming to second day, 2023, August 2nd, 22. So what is going to happen now? Coming to August 22, again, we are going to load the data from the GCS bucket to the CZ table. After that, again, what we need to do? We need to add one more entry into the audit table. Now in this table, we are going to add the one more entry like this, Andy. So for example, on second day, we loaded the 400 records. Here, last load time is 22nd. What is the next load time? 23. So like this, every day, whenever we are going to perform the data loading operations into the confirm zone table, after loading the data into the confirm zone table, then what we are doing here, we are going to maintain one entry into your audit table. Now, for example, after 1 month, some person came to the picture. He is asking, I am not seeing the data in the 21st. Then what we can do here? Simply we can go to the audit table. By seeing the audit table, we can able to verify really on this date data loaded or not. For example, in this audit table, we are not having this entry. Then what we can able to say? On 21st, data not loaded. But for example, in the audit table, we are seeing this entry. By seeing this entry, what we can able to say? On the 21st, data is loaded. Indirectly, instead of scanning the complete confirm zone table or instead of scanning the complete semantic zone table, what we are doing here in the audit table, just we are going to check one entry. By seeing that one entry, we can able to understand whether data loaded for a particular day or not. To handle this kind of situations in the real time, we are going to maintain the audit tables. But tell me, are we going to maintain this audit table for only confirm zone tables, or we are going to maintain the same table for the semantic zone tables also? We are going to maintain same table for the semantic zone table also, Randy. Now in the same table, for example, here from confirm zone to semantic zone table, data got loaded. Then what I will do here, after loading the data from the confirm zone to semantic zone table, in this table, again, we are going to add the one more entry. Here we are given the database name as a semantic zone database name, and we are given the table name is result underscore summary. For example, here we loaded only 100 records after applying all the transformations, and this data loaded on 2023 08 21. And next day, we are going to load the data on 2023 08 22. So this is the way what we are doing. We are maintaining the entries for the confirm zone table, and also we are going to maintaining the entry for the semantic zone table also. Like that, after loading the data into confirm zone table, we need to make one entry into the audit table for confirm zone table. In the same way, after loading the data from the confirm zone to semantic zone table, again we are going to add the one more entry on top of your audit table for the semantic zone table. And so like that, after loading the data into confirm zone table and semantic zone table, we are going to maintain the entries on top of your audit tables. Okay. Now you tell me, as part of yesterday's example, or as part of yesterday real-time scenario, in this audit table, how many entries we need to add? Any guesses? Yesterday we did the end-to-end process, right? In the yesterday's end-to-end process, in this audit table, how many entries we need to maintain?
2 entries.
2 entries.
Yeah.
Please try to recap. Only 2 entries or 3 entries?
Three entries for
We are
visual.
going to maintain the 3 entries. And what is the reason? Because in the staging or in the confirm zone, in how many tables we are loading the data? Only 1 table or 2 tables? Confirm zone Punjab, sorry, CJ underscore Punjab table and CJ underscore Telangana. Indirectly, you are loading the data into the 2 different tables, and which is nothing but in this table we need to maintain the 2 entries for the both the staging tables. After that, we are loading the data into the semantic zone table. For that, we need to maintain the 1 more entry indirectly as part of yesterday's end-to-end example. How many entries we need to maintain? We need to maintain the 3 entries into the audit table for which date? For the 2023-08-21. Again, for example, if I am going to repeat the same process today, again, what I need to do? I need to maintain 3 more entries. What about tomorrow? Again, 3 more entries. Like that, every day, whatever the number of tables we are loading, for every table, we have to maintain 1 entry into your audit table. Now, my requirement is, I want to verify into staging Punjab table, whether data loaded on August 21st or not. This is the one I want to check. Now you tell me how you need to check this information. In the staging Punjab table, I want to verify whether data loaded on August 21st or not. This is the information I want to check. And now how you can able to check it? We need to go to the confirm zone table, or simply we can go to the audit table. We can go to our audit table. So what is the query we are going to prepare? Select start from, just give your audit table name. After that, give the condition where
table name is
equal to, for example, STG underscore Punjab. After that,
load
and
last load
time is equal to, we are giving 2023-08-21. So if I'm going to run this query, what is our expectation? This query should give how many records? This query should give how many records?
1 record.
This query should give at least 1 record. In that 1 record, we need to see how many records are loaded. With that, we can able to give the confirmation on the August 21st data is loaded or not. Now, for example, here we are getting output as 0 records. What it means indirectly? On the August 21st, in this table, no data is loaded. For that reason, no entry is added to the audit table. So with that, we can able to say, if we are getting the output as 0 records, indirectly we can able to say data not loaded on August 21st into this table. If we are getting the 1 record, by using that 1 record, we can able to say data loaded on top of this table. Now, for example, it is giving 1 record, but in the total records, it is showing the value as 0. What it means then? It is giving 1 record. This record is coming in the output, for example, but in the total records, we are getting the value as 0, and instead of 300, we are getting the value as 0. Then what we can able to say?
No
data
record.
Loaded, but on that day, from the source file, how many records we received?
No records.
We received the 0 records. For that reason, we process the 0 records file only. If you want to give all this kind of information, we are depending on what table? We are depending on the table called as audit table. That's the reason this audit table is going to play very, very important role as part of your real-time project. Whenever any data not loaded, if you are getting such kind of communication from the business people to understand really data loaded or not, what table we are going to use here? We are going to use the table called as a audit table. Okay. Up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me.
Sir, who will make an entry in audit table, sir? That
are-
daily job will.
So we are only going to maintain. So we are going to prepare 1 more insert statement, Andy. So with that insert statement, we are going to maintain 1 entry into the audit table. But for now, what we are doing? We are running all these queries manually. But what I told you yesterday, after a few days, we are going to discuss about the orchestration tool. We are going to discuss about Airflow. In the Airflow, what we will do here? Simply, we are going to create the jobs. And actually, if you remember, yesterday what we did, manually we loaded the data from the GCS bucket to CJ table 1. And after that, again we loaded the data from 1 more GCS bucket to CJ table 2. After that, we loaded the data from the CJ tables to SJ table. So all these are the activities we performed yesterday. How we did all these activities? Manually. Today, if you want to perform the same operation for the today's date, again, what we need to do? Again, you need to repeat all these steps manually. But if you are going to work in the real-time projects, are we going to perform all these activities manually every day? No, Andy. So what we are going to do here is we are going to use the tools called as a orchestration tool. In the orchestration tool, for example, we are having the Airflow as an orchestration tool. In this orchestration tool, we are going to create the jobs. For example, I will create the job 1 to load data from GCS bucket to the confirm zone table 1. I will create the job 2 to load data from the GCS bucket to confirm zone table 2. In the same way, I will create a job 3 to load data from the confirm zone table to the semantic zone table. So this is the way we are going to create the jobs, Andy. What these jobs will do here? We are going to schedule every day morning at 10 a.m. I need to run this job. And this job also every day morning at 10 a.m. And for example, this job every day morning at 10:30 a.m. So this is my schedule, Andy. Every day morning at 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. you want to run all these jobs here. So accordingly, we are going to schedule the jobs in the Airflow. Once we are going to schedule the jobs, what will happen? Automatically, every day morning at 10 a.m. these 2 jobs are going to load. After that, it is going to load the data for the 3rd table at 10:30 a.m. But tell me, if you want to load the data into the job 3, any dependency is there? To load the data by using the job 3 into the semantic zone table, is there any dependency?
Yes.
Data should be available in the confirm zone table 1. Data should be available in the confirm zone table 2. Indirectly, if you want to trigger the job 3, what need to happen? Job 1 should complete and also job 2 should complete. Indirectly, job 3 is having dependency on the job 1 and job 2 only. Now we can able to say here, we can define dependencies also in Airflow, or by using any orchestration tool, we can able to define the dependencies. Andy, I want to trigger the job 3 at what time? 10:30. At 10:30, you want to trigger. But what is the prerequisite for that? Prerequisite is job 1 should complete, job 2 should complete. Then only I want to trigger the job 3, Andy. So this is the way, by using the orchestration tool, we can able to automate the whole process. Now, why we came to here? Now you tell me, in this audit table, how we are going to make the entry? For now, we are making the entries manually by writing the queries. We are doing the entries manually. But if you are going to work in the real time, what we will do here? Here in between, just I will create the one more job. For example, job 1 to make entry into audit table. Now tell me, to make entry into this audit table, what is the dependency? To make entry into this audit table, what is the dependency for this job 11? What did happen?
Job 1 should be successful.
Job 1 should complete.
Yes,
So what I will do here, I will put the dependency between job 1 and job 11. When job 11 need to trigger, after completion of the job 1 only, job 11 has to trigger. In this job 11, what I will do? I am giving the insert statement in the job itself, Andy. With that, every day morning at 10:10 a.m. or 10:05 a.m. automatically your data is loading into your audit table. Like that, we are going to define all these kind of jobs by using the orchestration tool. Just I'm given the high level overview how we are going to perform these activities automatically in the real time project, Andy. But for now, we are going to perform all these activities manually. Once we understand about the orchestration tool or Airflow, then we can able to understand how we can able to automate all this process by using the jobs. With the help of the jobs, what we can do here, you can able to automate the process. Second thing, you can schedule the jobs. Third thing, you can define the dependencies also by depending on your requirement. All these activities we can able to perform by using our orchestration tool. For now, forgot about the orchestration tool. For now, what we are doing? We are going to perform all these activities manually. For now, in this audit table, who is going to enter the entry? You yourself is going to enter the entry by using the queries, and which is nothing but for now we are going to perform this activity manually. But coming to real-time projects or in the coming days, we are going to discuss about how we can able to perform all these activities automatically with the help of the orchestration tools. Okay. Any other questions up to here?
Orchestration tools means nothing but scheduling tools, huh?
Yes, correct. An orchestration tool or scheduling tools, both are same only.
Okay.
We can create a trigger for that one, right? To
Sorry.
insert a record in the audit table. Manually, we will create a trigger names and
No, we are not going to create the trigger. So what we are doing for now, we are going to write the query only. By using the query, we are going to perform this operation manually. Okay. Any other questions so far?
Sir, don't we have error log tables similar to audit tables?
Yeah, if you want, you can able to create the error log tables. In that log table, we can able to capture all the logs if you want.
I mean, I'm asking like in real time, do we maintain error log
Now,
tables?
for database loading, we are not going to maintain any separate error log tables.
Okay. I mean, so like how we need to know like if job gets failed.
Yeah, you are
The
going to
reason.
get the output, right? In the output console, you can able to see that information, or in the airflow, in the real time, what is going to happen? All the jobs are going to run by using the airflow. In the airflow console, we can able to see all the errors directly.
Oh.
No need to go to database. In the airflow console only, you can able to see all the errors.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Okay. Any other questions?
So
Offline
in,
people, yeah, please. Yeah, online people, please continue.
so in the orchestration tool, do we only use
See,
airflow
please
server?
please forget about the orchestration tool. Just for one of the question, I given the answer at high level. Don't go to the airflow topic. We'll discuss about airflow separately. We'll discuss about orchestration tool separately, and just I given the high level glimpse. Okay. Try to understand audit tables. If you have any questions on the audit table, please ask me how it is working airflow and how it is scheduling. If you have any questions on top of orchestration tool, we'll discuss in the coming classes. Our main topic is here audit tables.
Sir, instead of this like step by step audit table, can't we keep after view level?
No, Andy. So see, continue, please.
Yeah, maybe before view level, the result summary at that time.
No, so actually, this is the kind of a sequence process. So after completion of the, just I will complete this picture. See, after loading the data into the confirm zone table, immediately we need to maintain the entry in the audit table. After loading the data into the semantic zone table, immediately we need to maintain the entry into audit table. After loading the data into a particular table, immediately we have to maintain the entry into the audit table. We are not going to perform this activity after completion of all the process and the confirm zone layer. After completion, immediately we are entering into the entry into the audit table. Semantic zone layer, after loading the data into semantic zone, we are maintaining the entry into the audit table. Like that, for every layer after completion of the process, we are going to maintain the entries into the audit table.
Okay.
In the audit table, for example, in the row one, like CZ, it is a 300 records, sir. But if it is showing as a total records as 250 or something.
Okay.
So remaining 50, how we can know 250 only present there and only like how the remaining rows where the
Then you need to perform the analysis, and on top of the source file, you need to fetch the data. From the staging Punjab table, you need to fetch the data. You need to verify which records are missing. Then you need to understand why it is missing. All that kind of analysis we need to perform. To do that only we are using this audit table, right? So for example, from the source file, you are getting the 300 records, but you loaded the only 250 records into the your staging Punjab table. By using this audit table, you are understanding in between the source file and target table, number of records are mismatching. Then only we are going to perform the analysis why those records are missing.
Okay, before that, how we know like source he's having only 300 or 250 or something?
Yeah, you want to tell me how we can able to find out? So for example, in your landing zone, you are having the file. In this file, you want to check how many records we are having. You want to check how many records we are having. You want to tell me how to check the number of records in your file?
Now we can check.
We are going to use simply WC minus L command. So by using the WC minus L command, what we can do? You can able to get the number of records or number of lines in the file. So that's the place only we are going to use our Unix commands, Andy.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah. Now tell me, yesterday we discussed about total 17 steps, Andy. Now, other than these 17 steps, what all are the extra steps we need to perform now? Yesterday, we have discussed about the some of the steps which are depending on the audit table. Now, you know about the audit table. Now, by using this understanding, you try to give the answer. Other than all these 17 steps, what else steps we need to perform here?
We need to add three more
Three more
steps
steps for creating the
audit table.
So here I can able to say,
First
one, we need to create
audit
a
table.
data set to maintain audit tables. So what we are doing here, we are going to create a data set and we are going to create a separate data set to maintain the audit tables. We are going to create a separate data set. In this data set only, we are going to maintain the audit tables. For that reason, first step here, we can able to say we need to create a separate data set. Okay. After creation of the data set, what we need to do in this data set? We need to create
three tables.
Audit table. But tell me here, how many audit tables we are going to create?
3 audit tables.
How many audit tables we are going to create? One table or 3 tables?
One
we are going to maintain only one table. And if you see here, in the single audit table, we are going to maintain the 3 entries. Don't get the confusion here. We are going to create the only single audit table. In that single audit table, we are going to maintain all our entries. Okay. Now, first step is nothing but we need to create the data set to maintain the audit table. Second step, we need to create the audit table. After that,
entry into
prepare load script to load or prepare load script to load data into audit tables
3 load scripts.
after CZ load. So what I'm telling here, prepare the load script to load the data into the audit table after the CZ load. Just for understanding here, I'm going to say for CZ table 1. This is the first step. After that, here how many tables we are maintaining? Actually, we are maintaining the 2 tables only. So again, we need to prepare the one more load script to load the data into the table after the CZ load. That is for which table? That is for the second table. Now, after this, what we can able to say? Last step, prepare one more load script to load data into
Asset.
audit table after SZ load. So these are all the activities we need to perform as part of loading the data into your audit tables. And so indirectly I can able to say, other than these 17 steps, we are going to add the 5 more steps. Total, we are going to maintain the 22 steps as part of our end-to-end process. Yesterday, intentionally, we have discussed about this topic because yesterday you don't know about what is the meaning of the audit table. So same audit table, we can able to call it as a control table also. Don't get the confusion. We can able, in some projects, we are calling it as an audit table. In some projects, we are calling it as a control table. And if you want to load the data into the audit table or control table in the end-to-end process, we need to perform 5 more activities. What are those activities? First one, we need to create the data set for the audit tables. Second one, we need to create the audit table within the data set. After that, we need to maintain the entry for CZ table 1. We need to maintain the entry for CZ table 2, and we need to create the one more load script to maintain the entry for SZ table. Like that, we need to create the total 3 load scripts to enter the data into your audit table. All these operations we need to perform as part of our end-to-end process. Okay. Now we'll try to perform all these activities, Andy. Now tell me how we can able to create the data set again. Create data set. We have to give the data set name. So this is the name I'm giving. For example, I'm giving name as a create dataset name. So please follow the steps in parallel with me if you want to do the practicals in parallel with me. Don't get any kind of confusion other than the yesterday's 17 steps. Just we are discussing the 5 more steps only because in the real time we need to maintain the audit tables. For that reason, we are discussing about the topic as part of our today's session. Create dataset audit trials. With that, we can able to create our audit database. Okay, as I told you in the notepad, what all are the details we are going to maintain in the audit table? We are going to maintain the user ID, we are going to maintain the environment, we are going to maintain the database name, table name, total records, last load time, next load time. All these are the information we are going to maintain on top of our audit table. So please give the audit table like this. Create table, database name dot table name. After that, we need to provide the structure of the audit table as I discussed in the notepad++. Here I'm giving the structure like this. I'm giving the user ID, environment, database name, table name, total records, last load time, next load time. All these are the columns we are going to maintain on top of your audit table. Just I will ping you this in the notepad Telegram group, and if you want, you can copy this just for time saving purpose. I given the command in the Telegram group. If you want, you can copy from there. Okay, now table is ready. Now in this table, I want to insert the data as per our discussion. Andy, now if you want to insert the data into this table, how we need to frame the query? Insert into audit table. And I'm giving database name dot audit table. Now tell me how we are going to insert the data into this audit table. What records you want to insert? I want to insert record for user ID. I want to insert the environment. I want to insert the database name. I want to insert the table name. I want to insert the total records, last load time and next load time. All these are the values I want to insert into my table. Now you try to give the answer. How we can able to maintain the entry into this audit table. For example, for STG underscore Punjab table.
So we need to aggregate on this from total. Yes.
Ready with the answer? I want to maintain entry of this staging table into this audit table. Then what is the query we have to prepare here? Can we give the values manually within the bracket? Insert into table values. Can I give the values bracket? No, right? Because if you want to give the values manually here, how we can able to get the total records? We need to get the total records from the staging table.
Yes.
That entry I want to give here and which is nothing but you cannot able to pass the values of manual here. So what we can do?
Select
Very
constant.
simple. Just we can able to add the select statement
Select constant.
from. I'm giving from which table? From the Punjab table. I'm giving this information. So what I'm doing here, select from our staging Punjab table. But in between, I want to maintain all the entries. But you tell me here in this select statement, how many columns entries we need to pass? Earlier we discussed, whenever you want to perform the insert operation, we need to understand for how many records we need to insert the data. As per this table structure, for how many records we need to insert the data? For how many columns we need to insert? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and total for 7 columns we need to insert the data. Now coming to user ID. So if you want to give the data, just I'm giving for example some hardcode value like this 2 through 4, 5 as user underscore ID. So just what I'm doing here, I'm giving it some dummy user ID and I'm giving it as a 2345 as user ID. So whenever I'm going to insert the data, what will happen? So it is going to take the user ID is nothing but 2345. In the same way, in the real time, what are the different environments we can able to see? Dev environment, test environment, and prod environment. Now, for example, you want to maintain the entry into the dev environment. Then what we can do here? Here also we can able to give the hardcode value. I'm giving it as a dev as environment. This is the second column name we are giving. And for this column, I want to maintain the entry called as a dev. Now coming to third column, what is the third column? Database name. Now what is the database name for our staging table? This is the database name. So I'm giving this value also within the single quote as DB name. What I'm doing here, I'm giving the database name within the single quote. I'm giving alias name is nothing but DB name. Now what about the table name? This query we are preparing for which table?
Punjab.
We are preparing for the staging underscore Punjab table. So we are giving it as a staging underscore Punjab as table name. So DB name, we are given the hardcode value because I know for which table you want to maintain the entry. For table name also we are hardcoding the value. After that, now what's the next requirement? I want to understand the total records. Now you tell me how we can able to get the total records. Can I give the hardcode value or we need to give any function?
Count.
I have to give the function here because count of star as I'm giving it as a total records. Because I want to get the number of records from the staging Punjab table, we cannot able to give the hardcode value only. That's the reason we are given the count function. With the help of the count function, we can able to fetch how many records are loaded into the staging Punjab table. That is the information we are giving here. Count of star as total underscore records.
Sir, small question here.
1 second.
Yeah.
Now, what is the next requirement? I want to get data for last load time and I want to get data for next load time only. So for this, if you want to get the last load time, we can able to use the function called as a current timestamp function. So far we have discussed about the date functions and while discussing about the date functions, this is the one of the function we are going to cover. What is the function we can able to use to get the current time? We are going to use the function called as a current timestamp function. By using this function, you can able to get the current date. That date we are loading into the column called as a last load time. At what time data is loaded, that is the information we need to capture in the last load time column. So for this here, we are going to use the function called as a current timestamp. Okay. Now in the same way, what is the next load time? You want to load the data daily or weekly or monthly. For example, I want to load the data on the daily basis, and which is nothing but for the current timestamp. What is the value we need to add? We need to add the 1 day. If you are going to add the 1 day, for example, today August 21. If I am going to give the +1, what will happen? It will take it as a August 22nd. If I am going to give the +2, what will happen? It will take it as a August 23. And for that reason, what we are doing is on top of the current timestamp, we need to add the 1 day. To perform this operation in the date functions, we are having a function called as a date underscore add function. By using this function, we can able to add the any number of days by depending on our requirement. Here, my requirement is for the current timestamp, I want to add the 1 day. For that reason, we are going to use the function called as a date underscore add function. By using this function, we are going to populate the data for next load time. Now, this is the whole query we need to prepare to maintain the entries into your audit table. Okay. Yeah, online people, someone is asking a question. Please continue now.
No, sir. Actually, regarding this audit table,
Hmm.
so normally in databases we are maintaining the system audits, right? So can't we use those things?
No, and so that we are not going to maintain, because in the system audit, is it going to store the maintain the data for number of records and everything?
Yes, yes. I can see in Teradata, like number of records are there, or which user ID going to.
Yeah, how it is loading? No, how it is loading in the Teradata also.
In the same system, logs tables are there.
No, in the Teradata, you are going to use the some kind of utilities, and you are going to use the mload, you are going to use the tpump, you are going to use all such kind of utilities. In those utilities, we are having the internal functionalities to create the system tables. By using that, it is capturing all such kind of information. But coming to here, we don't have any such kind of system tables. For that reason, we are maintaining the audit table separately.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Any question on top of this query, please ask me. If you observe here in this whole query, I'm adding the only two new functions only. One is the current timestamp function, and one more is the date underscore add. I'm only giving the explanation. Current timestamp to populate the current time value. Date underscore add, why we are giving? To add the particular number of days by depending on the requirement. Now, if you want to give the next load time, we need to give it as a current timestamp plus 1. That's the reason we are going to give the function called as a date underscore add. With this query, we can able to maintain one entry on top of your audit table.
This count star, how it will work, sir?
Yeah, how it is going to work, count star? You want to tell me? Someone is asking how count of star is going to work. You want to tell me how count of star is going to work?
We are not giving any table or the function.
Here, what I'm giving, if you observe, what is this? I'm giving the from table name, right? So from this table, it is taking the number of records. Whatever the number of records we are having, it is taken that values from the count of star.
Okay, remaining hard coded only count star we are taking.
Yeah, all remaining are the kind of a hard code values, or we are deriving all the remaining columns by using the functions only. Now for this one, we are fetching the number of records from the table. Okay.
Sir, can't we add these audit columns in the direct table itself?
No, if you are adding it in the direct table, what is the purpose of the audit table? You want to verify whether number of records are loading properly into the everyday or not. If you are maintaining all these columns again directly in our table itself, what is going to happen? If you want to see the data again, you need to scan the whole table, right? That is a kind of a time consuming process. For that reason only, we are going to maintain the separate audit tables.
Okay. I mean, like, while creating the table itself, if we give the row insert timestamp and update timestamp, we can take on particular date. I mean, we can retrieve the particular date data, right?
Yeah, correct. So even though there also you have to what you have to give, you have to give the condition load timestamp is equal to some value only. Again, if you are going to give this condition also, what will happen? It will scan the whole table and it will give the data for only that particular date. You are applying the filter condition, for example, by using the column called as a load timestamp on top of your target column. But even if you are going to apply this kind of condition, for example, your table is having the 10 lakh records only, what will happen? It will scan all the 10 lakh records. Out of 10 lakh records, whatever the records are suitable to your load timestamp condition, only those records are coming on top of your output. Instead of that, if I am going to maintain the audit table, in this audit table, maximum how many entries we are going to maintain? Maximum 3,000 to 4,000 entries we are going to maintain. Now tell me, scanning the 10,000 records is the best option, or scanning the only 3,000 records is the best option? Obviously, scanning 3,000 records is a kind of a best option. That's the reason in the real time, we are going to maintain the audit tables to find out all these kind of issues.
Okay. For example, if you are giving a TR, then I mean, while loading the data, if you are giving a TR, then will it saves the daily data, or else it
What
will
is the TR? I didn't get
truncate and reload?
Can you repeat it once?
Truncate and reload.
Okay, you're doing the truncate and reload. Okay, in the situation also, what will happen? It will perform the one entry here. If you are performing the direct load, or if you are going to perform the truncate and reload, what will happen? For every time, it is going to maintain one entry into your audit table.
Yeah, it will maintain one audit. I mean, one record for that. But my question here is, for example, we are loading the data today. Okay.
Okay.
And then we are performing truncate and reload operation on that.
Okay.
And when I see the audit table tomorrow,
Hmm.
will the today's record present in that audit table, or else it will delete and then it will present.
No, you
as
only tell me in this
tomorrow's-
audit table, you are going to see only one entry or you are going to see the previous entries also. You only try to give the answer.
Like I want to see the previous entries also.
It will maintain the previous entries also, right? It will maintain the previous entry plus current entry also. For that reason only we are maintaining the audit table, right? In the audit table, if you are going to maintain the only one entry for the only today's date, how you can able to understand for the previous dates whether the data is loaded or not? You got my point? In the audit
Yes.
table, it is going to maintain the today's entry. At the same time, it is going to maintain the previous entries also. Without having the previous entries, how you can able to understand for the previous days whether the data has been loaded or not? What is the main purpose of the audit table? To understand for all the previous days whether data is loaded properly or not. In that situation, you only try to understand whether we need to maintain the previous entries or we need to maintain the only current entry into the audit table.
Oh,
We
previous
have to
entry
maintain
also.
current entry plus previous
plus
entries
previous
also on top of your audit table. Is it fine?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is the way we need to create. We need to insert the data on top of your audit table. But you
Sorry,
tell me. Yeah,
so one
please.
question, sir. So in practically, in landing zone, we will maintain one audit table, and then in transform layer, we will maintain another audit table. Is that right, sir?
See, I already
We
told
will
multiple
maintain.
times. Sorry, you tell me in the landing zone we are maintaining the audit table, or in the confirm zone we are maintaining the audit table. So landing zone is in our control. It is in the on-premise. Okay, why we are going to maintain the audit tables in the on-premise? We are not going to maintain any audit tables in the on-premise only. We are going to maintain the audit tables in the BigQuery. Is it clear?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I have query. The insert query that all the columns present in the audit table not present in the Punjab table, right? So it will be inserted. We are from
Yeah, it
we are
will see.
mentioned here.
These columns are not present in the Punjab table, but tell me, coming to user ID, you are fetching the data from the Punjab table or you are given the hardcode value here?
Hard coded.
I'm given the hard for environment, hardcode value.
Yeah.
Database name, hardcode value. Table name, I'm given the hardcode value. Indirectly, even if these columns are not present in the Punjab table, for these columns, we are deriving the columns by giving the hardcode values, and with that, it is going to populate the data.
And this count of star will be for particular date only, right? We have to give the conditions like date of the.
Yeah, if it is a staging table, no need to give the condition. If it is a semantic zone table, then we have to give the condition. Staging tables are always truncate and reload as we discussed yesterday. But coming to if it is working on the semantic zone table, then we have to give the date condition.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. Now see here, this is the way we can able to prepare the query. By using this query, what we can do here in the audit table, we can able to maintain the entry only. But that's it, or we need to perform any other operations. What we have to do? We need to write the one more similar kind of insert query for what? For the one more confirm zone table. For example, I am loading the data for staging Telangana table. So then what I need to do here? I need to maintain the one more entry into the audit table. For that reason, we are going to write the one more insert statement. Now for this one here, I am given the table name called as a Telangana. Because for the staging Telangana table also, I want to maintain the entry. If you want to maintain the entry for the staging Telangana table, we need to maintain the environment, we need to maintain the database name, we need to maintain the table name. But in the table name, what we have to give here, we have to give it as a stg_Telangana only. Now, you want to maintain the total records. Tell me now, you want to get the total records from the Punjab table or from the Telangana table? From the Telangana table, because you want to maintain the entry for the Telangana table. That's the reason we are given the count of star. From which table we are giving this one? We are giving it from the Telangana table only. For that reason, we have to prepare the one more insert table on top of your staging table like this. Okay, that's it. Or do we need to perform still any other operations? Yeah, for now, you can give the user ID as a hardcode value only, because when we are going to perform the automation in the automation process, it can able to fetch the user ID automatically. So for now, who is inserting all the data into audit table? Same user. For example, you are working on the audit table. You are only inserting all the records into the audit table. Then tell me, user ID is going to change or user ID would be the same only? It would be the same only. That's the reason I'm giving the same value. Now, after loading the two entries, do we need to load any other entry still? We need to load the one more entry for what? For the semantic zone table, and for that reason, we need to write the one more query here, third query. Now you tell me what's the changes we need to perform for the third query. We need to give database name as sg_election results. We need to give the database name as nothing but sg_election results, and table name. What is our table name? results underscore summary table. After that, we are giving the count of star and current timestamp. All these remaining are common, and here we are fetching this information from the staging table. So this is the way you can able to write the one more query to enter the audit, to maintain the audit entry into the audit table. So here this information, all the operations we are doing for the semantic zone table. So this is the way total you are going to prepare the 3 different queries, and one for confirm zone table 1, second for confirm zone table 2, and third for our semantic zone table. To maintain the 3 entries, what we are doing here, you are going to prepare total 3 queries like this, and we are going to run all these queries manually or automatically for now. For now, we are going to run all these queries manually. And now, for example, tell me tomorrow day 2. Day 2 also what we have to do? Do we need to perform any changes in the query? No need to perform any kind of changes. Same queries, again, we are going to run one more time manually if you want to perform the load operations tomorrow. And in the same way next day, same queries, we are going to run it manually. Day 4, same queries, we are going to run it manually. But to avoid the running the queries manually, what we are doing here, what we are going to do, we are going to use the orchestration tool that we'll discuss later. But for now, try to understand, we need to prepare all these kind of queries for the purpose of loading the data into your audit tables. Okay. Now tell me how we can able to run all these queries.
The start table will be different. So where condition we can add.
Yeah, for now, forgot about the where condition only. So because we don't have any date column in that table, if you have the date column, we can able to add the where condition. Okay. So for now, how we can able to run all these things by using the BigQuery console. If you are doing the practice end to end from the BigQuery console, directly you can able to run all these queries. Otherwise, what you can do? From the Cloud SDK also, you can able to perform the same activity. So this is the way we need to understand as part of end-to-end process, why we are going to use the audit tables and how we are going to load the data into the audit tables by writing the load script or by using the insert script. And this is the way we need to add 5 more steps as part of this whole process. Now indirectly, total how many steps we need to perform end-to-end process as part of our yesterday's real-time example. Total how many steps? 17. 22. Plus 5, we can able to say 22. But is it a kind of a static number? Exactly 22. No. It might be 18 or 19 in some process. We are doing the 25 or 30 only. But as part of our discussion, we are ending up with the 22 number of steps only. By using all these 22 steps, we can able to perform the end-to-end activities as part of our real-time projects. Okay. Any questions still if you are having, please ask me.
The last steps, it will come between of that our 17 steps, or it will come as a last only?
Yeah, you want to tell me, so where it is going to come? Someone is asking the question, where these steps will come? These steps are coming after the 17 steps, or these steps are coming in between?
In between only.
Obviously, these steps are coming in between only. Just for our understanding, I will add that also otherwise. Create confirm zone. Okay, this I will give it as a 10. Create required tables is 11. Then I will give this as a 12. Just 1 second only. I will copy this into the Notepad++. Okay, so where this step will come into the picture, we need to create the data set. So this step we can able to add here. Okay, next one, we need to create the audit tables. After creation of the normal tables, we are going to create the audit tables also. Here I'm giving and prepare the load script.
These requirements also as part of requirement documents, we need to understand.
Now, this is the generic requirement, and this is not a specific requirement to a particular table. For all the tables, we need to maintain the audit tables, or only for few tables, we have to maintain the audit tables.
All the tables.
For all the tables, it's a kind of a generic requirement. This information you cannot able to see in the transformation rule document. Okay, just for your convenience, I maintain the steps like this only. Now we can able to see total 22 number of steps. So this is the way we need to perform all the operations as part of loading the data into our end-to-end process. Okay, just I will copy the same thing one more time. So I'm keeping this also here just for understanding today what topics we discussed, Randy. But if you want to see the complete flow, what we can do here by using all these 22 steps, we can able to see the complete flow. But if you want to understand only today what activities we have done, then you can able to refer this information. With that, you can able to understand why we are loading the data into audit table, at the same time how we are loading the data into our audit tables. Okay. Just I'm pinging all these 3 queries in the Telegram group. If you want, please do this activity also. See, if you are getting the any column name not matching or table name is not matching, please verify your table name and please verify your database name. Accordingly, do the required changes, Sandy. So here, just I typed everything manually. If you are getting any column name is not found, what you have to do? You have to verify that in your system, and accordingly, you have to do the small changes. Database name, if you are giving any different database name, please give the respective database name. If you are given the different staging table name, you have to give the respective table name. Accordingly, you can able to run all these 3 queries in your local systems. One question only. So how many of you tried yesterday by using the Cloud SDK or by using the Google Shell, Cloud Shell? Yesterday we discussed, right? After completion of the class, I asked you to try to do this from the Cloud SDK or Cloud Shell.
Yeah.
This is the first activity I give it to you. And second activity, I asked you to prepare your own script to explain end-to-end process. How many of you have completed both the activities? Online people? Okay, so far
The first one is completed, sir.
Yeah, so far I received the mails from the 8 people only. I received mails from 8 people. All these 8 people did very well. Actually, they given the screenshots and everything. They captured everything and step by step, whatever we discussed as part of the classes. From the console, whatever we have done, they captured everything into that document, whatever they send. After that, they tried from the Cloud Shell also. Within the Cloud Shell also, they tried for the multiple approaches. And one is by using the inline schema, other one by using the JSON file. They did all the steps. At the same time, they sent the documents also to me. They covered all the steps in very detailed way. At the same time, they captured all the information in the document also in the very proper way. With this, what will happen? After 1 month or after 20 days, again, if they want to cross verify, they can able to open their own document instead of depending on my test files or notepads. And what they can do here, whatever the work they did, they captured all the information to the document. They can able to open their own document. With the document, they can able to understand what they did as part of the practical. Just I want to show you one thing, one document here. One person sent. I forgot the name. You see, so she captured everything. I think some lady only. So she captured all the comments, whatever she ran. After that, she captured what are the activities she is doing. After that, she is capturing all the Cloud SDK comments and how we are creating the first confirm table, how we are loading the data. And after that, how they are mentioning how we are going to use the, it's not inter schema, it's the inline schema only. How we are performing this activity by using the inline schema. And after that, how we are going to create the JSON schema. She mentioned, if you observe cat greater than, after that, she mentioned control D also, which is nothing but she tried to capture minute level details also, because after 1 month or after 15 days, definitely will forget about how to come out from the cat window only. So if you are capturing all this kind of information, what will happen in the coming days? Easily you can able to perform the practicals one more time if you want. That's the reason for other people also. If you already captured, well and good. If you not captured, please try to perform end-to-end activities. Again, I'm just repeating the same thing from console and from Cloud SDK by using multiple approaches and capture everything. Trust me, max 2 or 3 days, you are going to remember all these steps. And after that, what we are going to do? We are going to discuss about some new services. When we are going to discuss about the new services, automatically what will happen? You will forget about the previous services. And for that reason, try to capture all the end-to-end details, because this is the kind of a real-time example we discuss for the end-to-end. And other examples is okay, but real-time example, if you want to recap in the coming days, please try to capture all the information. No need to share with me, but at least try to capture and try to save all that information into your systems. Is it fine? Okay. Now we'll try to understand one more topic. So earlier we discussed about the external tables only, but try to give the answer how we need to create the external tables. From the console, we discussed about how to create the external tables, but I want to create the external tables from the console, for example, by using commands. From the console, I want to create the external table by using the commands. Now tell me, so far, whatever the tables we created, all those tables are the internal tables or all those tables are the external tables? In the yesterday's real-time example also. All the tables are nothing but internal tables, or we can call it as a, all the tables are internal tables, or we can able to call it as a managed tables only. But now my requirement is, for example, if you want to create the external table as part of your project, then what need to happen? You should have some basic idea about how we need to create the external table. From the console directly, we can able to create the table by using the options only. But if you want to create the tables by using the command, how we need to perform this operation, or by using the Cloud SDK commands, how we can able to perform this operation. These are the things you need to understand, because this is the one of the topic pending from my side only. Earlier we discussed about what is the external table, and we discussed about how to create the external table from the console. But same thing we need to understand how we need to create the external table from the Cloud SDK, or how we need to create the external table from the console by using the commands. That's the one more topic we need to understand. Just I will show you that. So here also we are having the multiple approaches. Just I will show you all those. We'll go one by one. If you see the first approach, by seeing these commands, try to give the answer. Is it the console approach, or is it the kind of a Cloud SDK approach? This is the Cloud SDK approach only, because we are given the BQ command, where we can able to give the BQ command only from the SDK only. We can able to give the BQ command. Now, whenever you want to create the internal table, what we can do? Directly we can give it as a BQ MK space -T. With that, directly we can able to create the internal table. Now tell me, while creation of internal table and external table, for external table, do we need to specify any extra information? Do we need to specify any extra information? Compared to internal table and external table, while creation of the external table, do we need to specify any extra information? For external tables, from where we are going to get the data?
Bucket.
From the GCS bucket, or we can able to say from the external services, we are going to get the data to your external table. What about the internal table? Internal tables are directly pointing to your BigQuery storage only, but coming to external table, these are pointing to our external service, which we can able to call it as, for example, GCS bucket. Indirectly, if you want to create the external table, compulsory, what is the one of the parameter we need to pass? We need to pass the from which GCS bucket you want to read the data on top of your external table. That's the reason, compared to internal table, for external table, we have to follow the different kind of syntax. And for that reason, I am discussing about this whole topic. Otherwise, what I can able to say simply, whatever the way you created the external table, please create the external table also in the same way. I can give the simple statement, but coming to external table, we need to follow some different process compared to the internal table. That's the reason I am trying to explain how we need to create the external table from the SDK commands, or how we need to create the external table by using our console commands. And just observe here. In the first approach, what I am doing, I am giving the two commands. If you see the first command, what I am doing here is, we are given the definition by using the keyword called as a MK definition, which is nothing but we are making the definition to create the external table. But in this definition, what we are giving? We are giving from which path you want to read the data, because external tables are depending on the external path only. For that reason, here we are giving the from which path you want to read the data. And when you are reading the data from this one, I want to detect the schema automatically. For that reason, we are given the argument called as a auto detect is equal to true. What is the meaning of true here? While reading the data or while creating the table, by using this file, it will read the schema automatically. With that, it will create the structure of the table. At the same time, we need to specify when you are dealing with the file, we have to specify what format of the file you want to deal with. For that reason, here we are given the option called as a CSV. Source format is equal to CSV. This is the way we need to pass all the arguments when we are going to define the definition. To define the definition, we are given the keyword called as a mkdef, which is nothing but making the definition. What arguments we are giving? What is the format of the file? And you want to detect the schema automatically or you want to give the schema manually. In this approach, I want to detect the schema automatically. So I'm giving it as a auto detect is equal to true. After that, we are given the external file path, and whatever the definition we are creating, Andy, this whole definition we are storing where? We are storing into an argument called as a my table underscore def. For example, if I'm giving cat greater than sample.txt, what it means indirectly? You are trying to enter some data into the sample.txt file, and in the same way, in this command, what I'm doing here, I am giving this whole definition. This whole definition I want to save into the my table underscore definition. Indirectly, if you want to create the external table, first we need to create the definition. In that definition, what we are providing? We are providing format of the file. We are providing, you want to detect the schema automatically or you want to give it manually, then we need to give the path of the file. By using all this information, we are going to define the definition. Okay. After defining the definition, then what we are doing here, you are going to create the table. If you want to create the table, what we can do, we can give the command called as a bqmk-table, and here we are given the argument called as a external table definition. Now you tell me, for this argument, what value we need to pass? See the argument, external table definition, where we are having all the external table definition. In the previous step, we captured that information into the my table underscore definition, and this value we need to provide here. This is the argument. For this argument, what is the value we are giving? We are giving the value called as a my table underscore def. But who is creating this? Someone else, or you are only creating? You yourself is creating. In the previous step, already you created this argument. This argument we are giving as input to the second command, and in this second command, for this argument, we are giving it as a my table underscore def. Now tell me, what is the table you want to create? The table name and database name we need to pass. That is the one more argument, and here we are given the database name and table name. Now you try to give the answer how this command is going to work in the internal system. What will happen? It is trying to create table called as a stg underscore Punjab file. For this table, from where it is going to take the definition? It will go to my table definition. Here we are having the information for your file name, type of the file, and auto detect is true or false. By using all this information, it will create the table into your BigQuery, and this is the way we need to understand how we can able to create the external table from the console or from the cloud SDK. This is the command from Cloud SDK. One more question. These two are the two commands or these two are the single command? After sharing this, some people will get the confusion whether they need to run both at a time or they need to run one by one.
One after.
It's a one after one, and that's why I'm giving it in the two different lines. This is a separate command and this is a separate command. This command we are creating to define the definition. After that, by using this definition, we are going to create the external table by using this command. This is the way we need to understand how we can able to create the external table from the Cloud SDK. Okay. Now, if you observe here, coming to second approach, and here also we are going to perform the same activity, but try to give the answer from your side. What is the difference between the approach 1 and approach 2? You try to give the answer.
Auto detect. We are giving manually.
What I'm doing here? Here we are not giving any auto detect option. What it means indirectly? I don't want to get the schema automatically. I want to give the schema manually. How many ways you can able to give the schema? Yesterday we discussed. One is inline schema. Otherwise, you can create a JSON file. That JSON file also we can give it as a input to the command. And if you observe here, in the approach 1 and approach 2, all the commands, all the process is same. Only thing is nothing but here we are given the detect the schema automatically. But coming to here, instead of detecting the schema automatically, what I'm doing? This is what type of schema? Yesterday we discussed. It's a inline schema only. Within the command only, we are giving the complete schema, column name, data type, column name, data type, column name, data type. This is the way I am giving the schema manually. That kind of schema only we can able to call it as a inline schema. Approach 1 and approach 2 both are related to the Cloud SDK. Approach 1, approach 2 completely same. Only difference in nothing but here we are not given the schema, but coming to in this example, we are giving the schema manually. By depending on our requirement, either you can go for approach 1 or approach 2, but as part of the classes, I am trying to explain all the approaches what we need to follow as part of creation of the external table. Okay. Any question on these two approaches, please ask me. Is it simple or complex? It's very simple, and whatever the way we created the internal table, same thing we are doing for the external table also. but just we are adding the one more extra command to define the definition. Once you define the definition, just by using this command, we can able to create the external table. In this process, if you want, we can define the schema. Otherwise, we cannot able to define the schema. If you don't want to define the schema, we can go for the approach one. If you want to define the schema, then what we can do, we can go for the approach 2. This is the way from the Cloud SDK or from the Cloud Shell, we can able to create the external tables. Now, in the same way, you try to give the answer from the console by using the commands. I want to create the external table. What is the query we are going to use?
BigQuery -- use something like that. Create.
Just understand the question first. From the console by using the command, I want to create the table. If you want to use the BigQuery, you are going to console, or again you are going to the Cloud SDK.
Okay, console create table direct.
If you are given the BigQuery, that is nothing but Cloud SDK. But my question is, in the console, by using the commands, I want to create the table. Then what we can do? We need to go for normal create command only. As part of creation of the internal table, we are given the create table name. In the same way, for external table also, we have to give it as a create table name. But only one thing extra we need to add, which is nothing but we need to add the external table. So what we are adding, because if you are given the create table, by default it will take it as a internal table. But what is my requirement? I want to create the external table, and for that reason we have to give it as a create external table. Just to avoid the confusion, I'm giving directly like this. Create external table name. After that, actually we need to give the structure of the table. But if you don't want to give the structure directly, what we can do? If you are not given the structure, it can able to detect the schema automatically. But tell me again, compare to internal table and external table, what is the extra information we need to pass? We need to pass from which file you want to create your external table, and for that reason, just we are adding the some extra lines called as a options format, and we are given the URI or we are given the path. And actually, if you want to create the internal table, we are going to give the structure only up to here. But other than that, what we are adding extra here? Just we are adding the 3-4 more lines here. We are given the options keyword. By using the option keyword, what we are defining? We are defining what type of format of file you want to read and what is the file path. All this information we are giving. Now you only try to give the answer again. Why we are giving this extra information? What is the purpose? Why we are giving this extra information while creation of the external table? Why we are giving this extra information?
Because it is to get data from the file.
Yeah, correct, Andy. So because it's a what table is this is the external table. External table is going to get the data from where? From the external service. Okay. Now in this example, I want to read the data from the GCS. For that reason, what I'm doing here, I am given the GCS path. That's the reason we are adding these extra lines. And otherwise, what we can do here, if you want to create the internal table, no need to give this kind of information. But if you want to create the external table, then compulsory we have to add all this kind of information. With this, you can able to create the external table from the console commands, or you can able to create the external table by using our Cloud SDK. Why we are discussing all these things here is, in interviews, they will ask you to write queries to create internal and external tables. Okay, so people are going to write the query like this, and for internal table, give it as a create table name. They are going to open the bracket and they are going to close the bracket. After that, they are going to specify create external table name, create table name, open bracket and close the bracket. That's it. As part of interface, they are given the answer like this. But tell me, is the correct answer? Simply, they will ask one more question. For external table, is it correct? They will repeat the same question 2 or 3 times a day. We are in the assumption as part. So we are doing the practice on the MySQL. With that assumption, we are thinking that no need to give any other information. But whenever we are going to maintain the external table, compulsory what we have to remember? External tables are reading the data from the external service, which is nothing but, for example, GCS. But how external table can able to understand from which path it need to read the data? It cannot able to understand automatically. Then who need to provide that information? Whomever is going to create the table, he need to provide that information. If he want to provide that information, compulsory what he need to do? He need to add the options keyword. After that, he need to provide all the entries. Here he need to give the format and he need to give the path. All this information he need to provide, and that's the reason we are discussing all this information. Forgot about the interviews, Andy. If you are going to work in the real-time projects also, whenever you want to create the external table, this is the way we have to frame the queries. And if you are having the console access, from the console commands, we are going to run the query. If you are having the cloud SDK access, by using these commands, we are going to create the external tables. Okay. Any questions on all these approaches? Please ask me.
Sir, small thing, sir.
Yeah, please.
Can you please, sir, go up, sir? Yeah, that's approach 3. So maybe I have missed or confused. The both create has been done, right? First one, second one.
No, coming to first one, what is going to happen? It will take the schema automatically. If you are not giving any schema here, so in the first approach, what is happening, Andy? We are not giving any schema. If we are not giving any schema, by default, what will happen? It will take the schema from the file. But in the second one, what I'm doing, I am giving the schema manually.
Okay, it will override that one you're saying.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sir, if we have external table as a from drive.
Then you have to do the drive path here.
Drive path.
Just have to change the path on it. That's it.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Now, by seeing all this is again, what will happen? Confusions will start. Okay, that's the reason. Just again prepare one more document if you want. Just make a note how to create the internal tables. What's the commands? How to create the external table and make what are the commands we need to use only. If you can able to segregate like that, you won't get any kind of confusion. But if you are thinking everything in the air, what will happen? In the air, you will think, okay, internal this command, external this command. So if you are going to think in the air, what will happen? You will get a lot of confusions. And don't think in the air. Put everything in the notepad or put everything in the Word document. With that, you can able to get the clarification. For internal, what are the commands we are going to use? For external, what are the commands we are going to use? Again, I am only repeating. For internal and external, everything is same only. Only what is the extra thing? Just we need to specify the path. Other than this, everything is common between the internal table and external table. And one more thing. Please remember all these operations we are performing from the console. Second one, by using console commands. Don't ask the question, what is the difference between these two? What's the difference between these two? You tell me. What's the difference?
In the one we will select.
Coming to console, what we are doing? Directly we are going to select the options and from the left side panel, we are going to click on the create table. Then we are going to select the option for GCS bucket. Then we are going to click on the browse. We are selecting the path of the file. Then we are giving all the other options. We are going to click on the create. But what is the console commands? You are writing the complete create table statement manually. With that, you are going to create the table. That is the difference between console directly and console commands only. Other than that, one more option by using cloud SDK. One more option if you want by using cloud shell. Okay, just to try to prepare this kind of summary, and with that you won't be able to get any kind of confusion. Otherwise, you will get lot of confusion by end of our classes. Okay, any questions still if you're having, please ask me.
So here this file, same file we used before and we processed it, right, sir? What is the difference now with these options?
Now you want to tell me what's the difference as part of internal table where this data is storing, this Punjab.csv data. See, that is again basic question. So don't ask me the basic questions again, because already we discussed about internal table and external table around 10 times or 20 times only. Now, what is, so someone is asking the question, here we are referring the GCS file, then what is the difference between the internal table and external table? What is the difference? As part of internal table, what is happening? All this data is storing into your BigQuery storage, okay? But as part of external table, this data is storing in the storage, or this data is present only in the GCS bucket? This data is present only in the GCS bucket. It is not loading into your BigQuery storage only. That is the difference between our external table and internal table. For that reason, here we are given the path of the file. Is it clear?
So like in BigQuery, we don't maintain any files, only the tables.
Yeah, correct. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. If no questions, that's all. Yeah, please.
Since we are here, we are giving the file path from a GCS, right? Since we are so that here the file is there, so from there we are taking the path.
Yes.
For example, if there is some other external source like AWS S3 or from Azure Blob Storage,
okay.
Then.
So if you are going to use the Azure or other things, directly we are not going to create the tables like this. We are going to use the separate service called as a data transfer service. But if you want to use the data transfer service, we have to pay extra money as part of using our GCP account. but by using the data transfer service, we can able to perform this kind of activities.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions, Steve?
Sir, so for external, again, no need of inserting or loading, just to pointing to that file is enough.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Okay, then that's all for today, Andy. So we'll meet again at 11. We'll meet at 11:45. Okay. See, coming to BigQuery side, we completed almost all the topics, Andy. Just I will cross verify from my side. Any pending task, any pending topics are there on the BigQuery. I will check it once. If any pending topics are there, tomorrow again we'll discuss about the same BigQuery. But if everything is completed from the BigQuery side, from the tomorrow onwards, we are going to start discussing about the new service. Okay, actually here I need to cover only one topic, which is nothing but how we need to do all these activities from the Python. So far we are discussing everything from the Cloud SDK, but again same thing, and if you want to do all these activities from the Python, you should have knowledge on the Python. That's the reason we are not discussing that topic now. And one more last thing, we need to discuss about one more concept called as a merge and upset. This is the one more topic, only as per my knowledge only these two topics are pending. Okay, so we'll try to cover. So Python we are not going to cover anyway now immediately, but if it is fine, we are going to cover the merge and upset in the tomorrow session. After that, we are going to start discussing about a new service. Is it fine? Okay. And coming to 11:45 session, we are going to discuss about the DB concepts only. And today at 2:30 also, I'm going to take the class. In 2:30 also, we are going to discuss about the DB concepts. Now, in these classes, we are going to cover our window functions and all these kind of topics. And with that, most probably by today only, we are going to complete the database concepts also. Indirectly, from tomorrow onwards, we are going to start discussing about the new topics in the morning session and new topics in the afternoon sections also. Most probably, we are going to complete database concepts also as part of today's session. If it is not completing, tomorrow also I will take one more class for the database concepts. But what I'm assuming here is we can complete the database concepts also as part of our today's session. Okay. And one more thing, just I want to inform you. Next weekend, which is nothing but coming Saturday and Sunday, Andy, we will conduct the mock interviews. Okay, mock interviews on GCS and Compute Engine and SQL and BigQuery. On all these four topics, we are going to conduct the mock interviews, Andy. So please prepare yourself. With that, what will happen? You can able to attend the mock interviews and you can able to give the proper answers as part of our mock interviews. Okay, that is one thing. And one last question from my end. You want to do one more end-to-end process by using BigQuery. Yesterday we discussed about that election summary example, Andy. In the same way, you want to do one more end-to-end process by using the BigQuery. Okay, if answer is yes, Andy.
Yes.
So see here, don't explain. I will explain everything here. Who need to do?
We have.
Okay, so simple here. You need to understand everything. With that, try to do the end-to-end process. Okay. So either today or tomorrow I will share that information. I will give the one more real-time example with the end-to-end process. Okay, whatever the way we have done for the election, the same way we have done for the that scenario also. But that activity you need to perform from your side. If I'm going to explain one more time, what will happen? Again, I need to spend the 3 to 4 hours and you are not getting anything, Andy. If you are doing yourself, then what will happen? You can able to get some kind of questions. If you are getting any kind of questions, reach out to me. I can able to provide the support to you. Okay. And one more last thing, just I want to inform. Coming to online people, my sincere request, please come to offline classes. Unless there is no genuine reason. Okay, if there is no genuine reason, please come to the offline classes. If there is any kind of genuine reason, some people are pregnant, people are also there, Andy. So those people definitely cannot able to come to the classes. But if you don't have any kind of genuine reasons, please come to the classes on offline classes. And if you are attending from the online, as part of doing practice or while dealing with real-time scenarios, if you are facing any kind of issues, Andy, so what we are going to do here is, might be from today or tomorrow onwards, 1 hour, we are going to conduct online question and answer sessions. Okay. So in this session, our lab assistant will provide all the support to you if you are facing any kind of issues in the SQL queries, or if you are facing any kind of issues in the big data GCP services or BigQuery or anything. And if you are facing any kind of issues, online people, you can able to utilize this 1 hour online session. If you are facing any kind of issues, they will share the link also, Zoom link. And please join that link. Whatever the questions you are having, please clarify all those questions. After that, you can drop off from that meeting. So like that, you are going to have this meeting continuously 1 hour. In this 1 hour, whatever the questions you are having, please join that meeting. And in that meeting, you can able to get clarifications for all your questions from the lab assistant. What about offline people? Directly you can reach out to the offline or reach out to the lab assistant. And this option we are giving for the online people. If you are really unable to come to the institute, then please try to utilize this option to get the clarifications for all your questions. Okay. Any questions on this, online people or offline people?
Sir, can you share those files? I mean, like my intention is like we'll try once from our end. When we are doing it, if we face any issues, then we can come to you, right?
Yeah, correct.
Again, you.
No, I am not going to explain the topic that end-to-end scenario one more time, because if I'm going to spend the time, again I have to spend the 3 more hours of time on that end-to-end scenario. That's the reason you have to do yourself. If you are facing any kind of issues, I can able to provide the support, or our lab assistant can able to provide the support.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, sir. Like, can you share 2 more data files?
Yeah, I will share, and that's the thing I'm telling. I will share that information by today, end of the day, or tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Yesterday we have created